Video game bang.
It's working now.
Game bang. Video game bang.
Turning mics hot.
Mega brand. Live from the sack, it's the livest. In fact, I'm putting rhymes on this track to put my guys on the map. Updates, geek news, tech talk, and reviews. They can summarize it so you ain't gotta breeze through. Listen once and you're forever fans. And I'm not saying it because their theme song features Mega Ram, the ultimate source of all geek media. Other podcasts, they just don't match up. Need proof? You can check the archives and catch up. Stats off the chain, we have rearranged the game. It'll never be the same. Now it's time to feel the bang.
Bang, 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 bang. Welcome back to the Video Game Gang. You are listening to Video Game Bang. I don't know, I was trying to really just stretch that out and make it rhyme, but the freestyle skills are lacking right now. You are listening to the failed freestyles of your boy Skip, aka Skip and Tosh. Thank you for indulging me, everyone. Thank you for being here. People listening and watching live on Twitch, we appreciate you being here. We are live on Twitch for the show, Video Game Bang. You gotta go to twitch.tv/videogame_. Don't forget the underscore bang. That's like Lil Wayne, Weezy F baby. Don't forget the baby. It's like Video Game Bang. Don't forget the underscore. Though.
Except it's really important. You don't forget that. Otherwise, you'll end up on some other stream, and I cannot vouch for their quality.
Because then you'll be listening to some other person that's not named Cory Vincent. Cory Vincent, how are you doing today, my friend?
Yo, what is up? My name is Cory, and I'm here to say I got a championship ring, and it's from the Bay.
Hey.
That's all I got. That's all I got. Mr. Two Time. Wow. Mr. 305.
2 times. See, I messed up. It's been a while because I've been gone for a few weeks. So I'm supposed to say officially 2-time world champion Cory Vincent. How you doing today? But I messed that up. So it's all good. We're moving along. Cory got a ring. Everybody knows Cory's doing fine. He's doing great things. I saw you guys looking cute as buttons, you and your other two that make up the Vincent tribe. I just wanted to say, cutest monkeys I've ever seen in my life.
Oh boy, Halloween! I'll be okay. I pretend, everyone loves Halloween. Every time it's October, people are drinking their pumpkin spice, and they change their names on Twitter to ghouly things and spooky stuff. I hate Halloween. I don't like horror movies. I don't like dressing up. I'm a hefty boy, so I have to choose heavy characters if I'm going to dress up because it's not Halloween's not fun for fat people. I'll just tell you that straight up. But all that aside, I hate Halloween. Man, I love Halloween now when you have a kid because you just dress her up like a little monkey. She's happy. There's candy around. I really enjoyed this Halloween. And then someone put it perfectly. They're like, when you have a kid, it's your second childhood. And now I'm looking at everything through that scope. I cannot wait for Christmas. This is going to be an amazing year. But thanks for noticing. And I love sharing pictures of my cute kid. So that means a lot. Thank you. Thank you, Skip.
Yes, it is the least I can do. Think nothing of it. Think nothing of it. As we're talking about being in the mood for Halloween things, and I saw some pretty cool Halloween things being retweeted from my homie Lexie. Lexie, how you been? What's up? How you doing? What's good?
Hi, I'm great. I don't know if I can rap like Cory. I mean, my name is Lexie. I'm a little sketchy when I play Among Us, because I'm a little messy. I don't know.
Oh man, she got 3 rhymes. I only got 2.
I try sometimes.
That was pretty good. That was pretty good.
But yeah, I've been good. I tweeted some Halloween-y, I guess, things here and there. I will say, I saw Cory's photo. It was so cute. I loved it. It reminded me of my childhood and stuff too, so appreciate that. It made me tear up. I was like, look at Cory. But yeah, I've been playing a lot of Among Us on my phone, so just so y'all know, I'm pretty obsessed about it.
Yeah, I'm surprised I didn't see a costume of Among Us. Apparently, I guess everybody was doing this time around, but no Among Us costume this year, huh?
I wanted to dress up or do something, and I did actually think about doing that. It's just, it didn't feel like Halloween. It didn't feel like Halloween to me this year. I don't know. I wasn't in the mood to try to do something, dress up or something, but I do enjoy cosplay or like creating some type of costume for Halloween. But I just didn't feel like it. And this year, actually, my dog's name is Ripley, and she's named after Sigourney Weaver's character from Alien. So I wanted
That's awesome.
to, like, yeah, thank you. I wanted to really go out and like create her costume, and then me like be one of the crewmates basically. And then with Among Us, it would have been perfect, like, you know, to tie in. But they didn't have her costume, and it was like sold out on Amazon, and I didn't feel like making it myself, so I was just like, whatever. But I did dress her up as a pumpkin, and I did dress up as a pumpkin myself, and we did that. So I might share that picture. I just I wasn't like in the mood to like dress up. But Christmas is around the corner, and I'm like Elf from the Elf movie. Like, that is me as a person because I love Christmas. So
That
you
makes a
will
lot of
see
sense.
plenty of Christmas stuff.
I can see that.
Yeah. Okay. So, well, you did dress up a little bit, but let's say that y'all took the year off. That's fine. We'll give y'all that. But next year, I'm expecting big things. I'm expecting Ripley cosplay from Ripley, and I'm expecting you to be looking like a face hugger next year, and I will not accept anything less.
Okay, bet. Okay. I'll make sure to bring in the heat for next year, guys.
Okay.
You need
All
to
right.
Make sure your dog has a little flamethrower.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of people bringing, speaking
Oh,
of people. Oh, what were you saying, Lexie?
I say you guys are speaking big things into my future, so I'll try.
Speaking of people bringing the heat, you heard his voice. Some of you have probably seen his videos. If you haven't, you should. But introducing as a first-time guest on the Video Game Bang podcast and stream, Forrest from Retro or Die. Forrest, how's it going, man? Thanks for being with us.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on. I'm not a very good rapper, so, but I'll try. My name is Forrest. Don't get it confused with Gump. I'm not chump. And that's it.
Oh, there you go.
There we go. See, everybody hit his freestyle. This is what you get at Video Game Bang. Only the best for our listeners. So why don't you, this is your first time on the show. Of course, it was a very interesting way that I came across your content. Very unique, but it's kind of like one of the little joys of life that it gives you, even in years like 2020, although this was before 2020. But why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are and kind of some of the content that you create and where you create it?
Well, I've been on YouTube since 2013, and I actually had a YouTube channel when Google bought out YouTube. My first original YouTube channel was actually purged because of copyright claim content, and I got 3 strikes in a row on that first channel, and the channel was just gone.
Wow.
So I restarted and just been making content on video games, horror related mostly. I love horror video games and horror movies. So there's a lot of that being made on my channel. I mean, I've been kind of just doing all kinds of different video game related media over the years. I originally started like as a freelance writer for like a horror video game website in like 2011.
Okay.
And it's just, it's the way I've been going throughout the years.
It's
I
awesome,
love video
man.
games.
Oh, dude, and there is no questioning that. So, it was cool. I had come upon Forrest content, Retro or Die, actually through his father, which was really interesting. Like, and I just thought it was cool. Like, we had an issue, like with the AC, called up, got someone coming through. I had a bunch of my streaming gear in the living room because that's where we were streaming at the time, and just being a super cool dude, just striking conversation. He's like, oh yeah, like my son does some of this stuff. You should check out his channel. And like, anytime your family, because I know how it is. We all know how it is. If you've made anything, if you stream, if you do podcasts, trying to get your friends and family members to actually check out what you do is almost like trying to pull teeth. Like, it's so difficult sometimes. So when you actually have their support, when one of them is actually like seeing things and mentioning you when they don't even have to, you know what I mean? Like, I just thought that was cool. So I was like, oh yeah, took down the name, looked up the content. And for me, like I'm an old school horror guy. And when I say old school, I mean, I guess, that's funny, 80s stuff and, going back to some of the 70s stuff. So that was some of the first things that I had seen. Like up there, I saw Resident Evil 2 stuff. And I was like, oh, this is an instant subscribe. Like no questions asked. So I just appreciated like all of the stuff that you had up there. It was a good follow. Like I said, anybody, if you're not familiar with Retro or Die, look up Retro or Die on YouTube. Check it out. Even the streams are fun too. Just if you want the retro goodness, and he covers current stuff too. So check it out. I can't recommend it enough. We'll come back around and we'll talk about more of that stuff later. But we were talking about some of the some content that everybody was talking about over this weekend. One of everybody's favorite dressed up disguised comedian, Sacha Baron Cohen, of course, dropped the new Borat 2. We were talking about it in passing, and Cory apparently felt so passionate about it that he insisted that we discuss it at the beginning of the show. Cory,
so
why are you so excited about that? Why are you more excited than I am when I am like such a huge Sacha Baron Cohen fan?
Well, I decided to watch the movie with my wife. And no, I had
nice.
Yeah, very I had no idea you were into it. Yeah, how much? I had no idea you were into it. I thought this was like one of those little things that I watched and I was like gonna have nobody to talk about it. Then it turns out you've been watching Sacha Baron Cohen since back in the Ali G, which I have all the DVDs of because I was way into that stuff too. I love that the whole unsuspecting behind the scenes sneak and surprise everybody with it. And I thought it was a really good movie, and I just wanted to hear kind of more what you had thought about it. And because for some reason I just didn't anticipate you to be into that stupid, wild, like gotcha humor, but I was pleasantly surprised that it's something you're into.
Okay, well, I can understand why you would think that. Like, it doesn't throw me off by any means. Most of the time when it comes to things that I'm not into, because I'm pretty open-minded, as we know, majority of the time it comes down to a question of quality. There's so many people that are in, kind of do that type of thing. And most of the time it's just kind of the run of the mill. So it's very easy to just kind of turn your nose up to it. But there's a reason why we always come back to Sacha Baron Cohen. There's a reason why it goes from the Ali G to the Borat to the Bruno, back to the Borat, and then all these other various characters on his different comedy sketch shows. Most recently, that show that he had on Showtime, that was crazy.
Oh yeah, the one that got the politician fired.
Yeah, exactly.
Crazy.
The reason that we do is because he is best in class. He is best in show. And what I like about it is it's not just all for gags. Majority of the time, he has some underlying themes and whatnot that he's basically expressing, talking about, bringing up for the sake of conversation. So yeah, him, because he's so good at it, and he caught me earlier on. And of course, around the time of Ali G, it was just hilarious. I was into hip hop, and it was all the drum and bass guys and the UK garage guys, and it's wicked, you know what I mean, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
There was just nothing to like about, that stuff at the time to me. So coming to this, after, having seen all of his work up until this point and remembering back to Borat 1, I think Borat 2 actually surpasses it. I think in theme and quality, and one of the things that we talked about, you said lacked last time, or at least takes a back seat, which is usually like the plot. I think all of that stuff was a lot more upfront this time around. The addition of Tutar, is his daughter,
yep.
Which I believe her name is Maria Balakova. We'll double check her name, the actual actress, but she did an incredible job.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that they gave her some scenes by herself, because as the movie was going on, I was like, man, I really want to discover her character more. Like, it seems like she's doing so well. I want to see her apart from him. And if her character still stands on its own, the way that she was just delivering things, some of my favorite parts of the movie when it was just her, we're not going to spoil a bunch of stuff, but when they went to the conservative women's convention.
Oh my God. Yeah. Holy shit.
Those are some of my favorite scenes. She was just such a scene stealer, so committed to the role. Her timing, their chemistry, all of that stuff came together. So as a whole, if anybody that's into Borat, or from the first one, the Bruno stuff, any of it, it's only 90 minutes too, so it's just really easy to get in there, like take that crazy roller coaster ride. You're gonna lose your hat or your wig if it's not glued to your head, and then get off the ride, shake off how dizzy you are, and talk about it. But Cory, what were some of the highlights for you on it?
The highlight for me was them getting around the fact that Borat is like the most recognizable characters or entities, of that time period.
Yeah.
So they address head on quickly, how he's going to need even more disguises. And it wasn't just Sacha Baron Cohen in disguise. It was Borat in disguises, which was like super meta. And I think that's kind of why they had to even bring on Tutar, because he can only probably get so far anymore, with the way he does business and stuff. And, they needed to get more creative. I would be way more fascinated. I loved Borat too, but I would be 10 times more fascinated by a film just explaining how they did everything. Because the one that kind of got spoiled, and we should talk about it for a minute, was just the Rudy Giuliani thing. He snuck off to like put on lingerie or something. It seems like there was a plan that they had going, and then as in the moment as that started taking place, where he started unzipping his pants, they probably needed to interrupt him because of legal reasons, is my assumption. You can't have Giuliani pull his peen out, and then it'd be footage they can't use anymore. And so he just ended up bursting into the room in lingerie, says some lines or whatever. And they take all this crazy real stuff and they put it into a Borat storyline. So it's all together, but there's little parts that don't make sense because of, what happens in the moment. And I want to know everything now. I want them to go through and do like I would watch a 4-hour movie, the Snyder cut, of all this shit, just to see what happened behind the scenes and how it came together. But overall, it's just kind of incredible. And it's exactly what you said. Of all the people who do this, that type of like humor and that kind of, I don't even know. He's definitely the best. I would say, knowing that you're into that type of stuff now, if you want to see another master of that, I don't know, what do you even call that when you kind of just deceive people for humor?
It's like character comedy.
Character comedy with like real people, like as actors and stuff. There's a show on Comedy Central that I'm convinced it's one of the best shows of our generation that nobody's seen, called Nathan For You. Please do me a favor and let's watch this one, like in book club it together, Skip, because Nathan Fielder does very similar stuff. He's like a businessman. He, he's really got this awkward character, and his thing is to optimize businesses. So one episode was called Dumb Starbucks. He takes this struggling coffee company and he brands them as a Starbucks, but calls it Dumb Starbucks and just puts dumb in front of everything and steals their logo, steals the layout, does all this crazy stuff. But he loopholes it because you can get away with that if you're a parody artist. And unbeknownst to everybody, a few weeks before, he was taking the store owner out to the nightclubs and they were doing parody music because he talked to a lawyer. And it was just, he just does all this weird stuff with like live people, and it's insane. You got to watch this one if you're into that Sacha Baron Cohen stuff.
Okay, I just might grant your request. It
Please,
sounds interesting
I'm
enough,
begging
but
you.
of course we will see. Okay, so we all know, like always, Cory's interested in seeing how the sausage is made, and we know Lexie hasn't seen it, but we'll come back to that. Forrest, were you able to? Have you seen any of Sacha Baron Cohen stuff, and did you see Borat 2?
I haven't seen any of his stuff except for Borat, the first one, and I was gonna ask, is the second one as raunchy as the first one?
It's raunchy,
because
easily.
It's raunchy. Oh my god! So a funny story about the first Borat movie, real quick, is I don't know who Sacha Baron Cohen is. I never watched any of his stuff, so I had no familiarity with him when I went and saw the movie. And I thought it was just going to be like almost like a Jackass movie, where they went out and they would go out in real life and trick people, kind of stuff,
Right.
And I brought a girl on a very first date to that movie, not knowing what this movie was going to entail or anything like this. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh, I'm cracking up. I'm laughing my ass off. And I turn around and I look at the girl I was on a date with and just horror in her face. And I never saw her or talked to her again after that. She disappeared.
Oh, that's too good. Oh my gosh. So, well, okay. So now that we got that, Lexie, so we know that you haven't seen it, but I do have a question for you. If you went on a date and someone took you to see Borat as the very first movie, with all that you've heard us discuss, what do you think your impressions of that person would be, or how that date would go?
I don't know. See, I don't know how bad this is. Like when you said that, because okay, granted, like I don't know if she didn't like humor like that. You see what I mean? Like her personality,
right,
like that. Because I do like a good humorous movie.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, let me back it up. I've seen Hangover. Is it to that extent?
Oh, it's far beyond.
Way worse.
Way worse.
Okay.
Let's just say I'm gonna do the quote of the line: "Eat my asshole, eat my asshole."
Okay, so like I've seen Hangover and like Airplane and like stupid like movies like that. So I think that's funny. But if you're saying it's like extremely like times 10 of that, I don't know. It just depends on like if it was funny to me or not. And see, I haven't seen, what is it? What did you say? Like Jackass, a movie or whatever?
Jackass,
I haven't seen those.
Oh, those are great.
I can't compare like if I would be like, oh, this guy's sketchy from because it just depends on the girl's humor. Like if she's into that kind of stuff, like maybe that should have been, well, you didn't know about it, but for all the listeners listening out there who want to take somebody on the first date to see Borat or that's like close to it, maybe you should ask your girl like, hey, are you into humor? And if she goes, yeah, I'm into humor, you say, oh no, like, are you into humor? Like you do that, you know. So I don't know.
Hey, that's totally fair. I appreciate the honest answer. Yeah, I'll go ahead and since I do know, I will let everybody do not watch Borat.
Not on a first date.
On your first date, unless you are completely fine, unless you want to see it that bad and you're completely fine never talking to that person again. Overall, I'm gonna say this for us. I think you won because if she wasn't down with the Borat, she wasn't for my man Forrest.
Yeah.
That's my story. I'm sticking to it.
And that girl till today is like listening to this podcast, like that guy.
Well,
see, you missed out.
I bet.
You missed out, lady.
I bet. Like after seeing all these trailers come out for Borat 2, I was saying this last night to someone at a Halloween party. When all those trailers for Borat 2 came out, I bet it hit her like a ton of bricks. She never thought about it again until this point. She's like, "Oh my god, that effing guy that brought me to that movie."
The first movie I took my wife
true.
out to was Alien versus Predator. And that was kind of the same line of thinking, was like, if you're going to be with me, you got to watch really stupid alien movies from time to time. So she passed the test.
There you go. And happily ever after. Look at you two now.
Yep.
I love it.
Watch Borat. That's my question.
No, I'm not a lunatic. I wouldn't take a girl to see Borat on a date. What are you thinking?
Your wife, has she seen it?
Oh yeah, we watched it the other week.
Okay, so what is her thoughts on it? Does she like it?
Yeah, actually, she liked it.
See, that's what I'm saying. You got to get you a girl that's into that humor, else you're screwed.
It took a while to get there. Like, she's really into the Nathan For You with me, so we watched those types of movies, and we're just sitting there talking to them the whole time on how did they get that thing? How did they get that? How did they talk that person into doing that thing? And so that's more of the fun. I loved Andy Kaufman when I was growing up. Like when I was a kid, my favorite movie was Man on the Moon. The Jim Carrey.
Jim.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's kind of a weird movie for a little kid to, really, really be obsessed with when I think about it as an adult. Like, I was really into that movie. Every word of it I could have talked about. So I love the whole surprise meta humor, like things that aren't funny actually being the most funny type of stuff. So that's where I come from.
So everybody who hasn't, watch Borat 2. And that's all I have to say about that, as Forrest Gump said. Moving on to some video game news. Hey, yeah, Forrest Gump. I just got that. I'm catching up.
I hear
awake.
that. I hear that so often. It's just like immediately. It's like I just gotta laugh now.
Well, you should be like, well, life is like a box of chocolates.
Let's just get him out of our system.
I just go straight for the Jenny.
Oh, that movie's so good, and I love the restaurant. All right, well, stuff that Forrest Gump will never experience at this point. Next gen console demands are at an all-time high right now. Let's see, reading a little bit from this article, and a shock to absolutely no one, the demand for next gen consoles is going to be very high when launch is in a couple of weeks. Sony says, in fact, that the demand for the PlayStation 5 will be so high that, quote, it may well be that not everybody who wants to buy a PS5 on launch day will be able to find one, end quote. Says Jim Ryan, CEO of Sony Interaction Entertainment. And that quote came from an interview with him. Lexie, is there ever a time where they launch these games the last 3 generation cycles or 3 launches where there was a sufficient supply? Doesn't it always seem like it's almost like intentionally constrained? I don't know. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I feel like it's always been like I feel like this isn't new. Like, we know when the consoles come out that it's not gonna be like the supply and demand chain for it is always like this. Especially with the holiday rush and like Black Friday and deals and stuff like that. Like, I feel like it's always been this way. So I don't know why people are like, oh my God, like we can't get our PlayStation or whatever. Like, it's always been this way. But I will say that for some reason, even at launch, even though it's like this and it's usually the holiday launch for these consoles at launch, but at like during Black Friday, usually they're restocked, because I remember like when the Xbox One came out and I really wanted it, and they came out for the launch and it was around the holidays, and then Black Friday hit and they had restocked all the stores. Now, granted, some stores had deals, like I think Target had a deal when you got the Xbox One. You also got like a $20 gift card and a game, which that's huge. So I went to Target first thinking I would get one, and they ran out of that specific deal, but they still had just the Xbox, if that makes sense. So it was like, and then Best Buy had like a whole stack of Xboxes. So I feel like people just go, they're like, I want it day one, and like they don't expect like the supply and demand, but they should. Like, everybody wants it, but just patience is a virtue, people. Like, it's okay, give it like, and they'll be restocked. Like.
And it always seems like in this day and age, that's something that's fallen by the wayside. Like, it's all about me, here, now. Forrest, do you think there's anything unique about this particular holiday and everything that's going on with the global pandemic that, it kind of affects, these launches in this particular year?
Well, I know because of the pandemic, and I know personally from people that work in video game stores that, I mean, the demand on video games, no matter what it is, brand new or even all the way to retro games, is just the demand has skyrocketed because people are staying home and they have nothing to do. So it's just people want the games and they want them now. And the FOMO aspect of it, the fear of missing out on wanting something right away, I feel like has been something that gets worse and worse every year as I see with video games. It's people want it now. They can't wait. If something gets delayed, they get more and more pissed off about it. And the thing that I don't understand about people wanting consoles, I mean, I get it. You want the console day comes out, but as we've seen with past and previous console releases, a lot of these consoles, sometimes they are not working properly, and then they come out with like the second version of that console, it seems like in like 6 months, and the price is cut and it works better. So I don't get the demand of wanting to need immediately and being so pissed off about it if it's not going to be there right away. I mean, think about it. How many games, brand new games, are going to be there right away when the console releases? I don't know.
That's a very good point. and it's odd for someone like me who at this point I was kind of taking to an account one of the things that you said about the games library not being there at that time. For me, that was enough pause to say, okay, I'm going to wait till March. I'm good now. There's really only one new game that I want to play, and they're not crazy. They want to make as much money as possible, so they're releasing it to current gen as well as next gen. But Cory, obviously the feeling of FOMO is real. And that's what gets some of those people to rush. But what are some of the other reasons outside of exclusive games that someone might just want to jump onto a new console and feel like they just need it now?
It's just a hype train thing. I don't even know. People are just so trained to want to jump on the next console, regardless of getting burnt. Like whenever Forrest was talking about day one patches and stuff, it just completely brought back the memories for the Xbox One experience I had. You get so excited. The box arrived day one. You open it up. It feels like Christmas. You plug it in, and you have to sit there and let it update for 5 hours. And then all your games need to patch, and they need to download now. It's not like back in our day where you get the console and you just plug it in. It comes with a game. It doesn't come with the games anymore.
Two controllers.
Yeah, it came with 2 controllers. It sucks. I think there's really very little reason to try and really jump on day one unless you're just that person that's got $500 burning a hole in your pocket. And then this whole thing about the supply and demand thing, like it's just Nintendo 101. We've seen it. They put out 10 boxes of NES minis or whatever they want, and people go crazy just because people want what they can't have on a primal level. So if something's going to be rare, or if you just want to get it and try and scalp it and make even more money on the secondhand market, there's just so many reasons out there that just drive people to be crazy. And they probably have enough consoles if they quit giving out so many goddamn pre-exclusive ones. Everybody on my Twitter timeline has an PS5 and an Xbox already doing unboxings and all this stuff. It's almost to an annoying degree how many people and the level of people I've seen opening PS5s. I'm not, trying to be too much of a hater or throw too much shade, but there's some really tiny shows out there that got Xboxes and PS5s, and I'm like, where are these coming from? It used to be that was the thing. They didn't come out till that day, and then you see all the unboxings come out. But it's such a stunt nowadays. It just doesn't feel like it did back in the day. It just feels like so forced. I'm not excited about these consoles at all.
I feel like the embargo lifted last week, and then it was just a flood of everyone like, I got the PlayStation, I got the Xbox or whatever. But to your point of like the distribution side of it, I could see the supply and demand being a problem with like the FedEx thing that's going on, and like UPS, especially with COVID, like they've been having trouble with like getting shipments out. So I could see maybe they're talking about that. But other than that, I'm like, these people probably have a whole warehouse or 2 warehouses full of these things ready to ship. But maybe it's just getting the products to the stores and the supplies, especially with COVID, in light of COVID and like travel restrictions. I know there's some states that still have restrictions on travel and distribution. So I could see that, like, in that perspective, maybe being a problem.
Yeah, definitely all things to factor in. Oh, what were you saying, Forrest?
I was going to jump on what Cory said also. It's funny because he's saying that all these smaller YouTube channels or just YouTube channels in general are showing all these unboxings and stuff. I've also seen a ton of people winning these Taco Bell and Burger King or whatever competitions for consoles, way more than I've seen in any other of those type of competitions. It's like people are winning every week, when it would be maybe once a month or 2 that you'd hear someone win those competitions. But I'm seeing it every week that people are winning those consoles. It's crazy to me.
Yeah, I've easily never seen like consoles before a launch officially be so like prevalent. You know what I mean? With so many different people having them. And I get it from a marketing, and promotion standpoint, and it is nice that they are acknowledging content creators and the value that they bring, for games, products, different things like that. Being in the field, like I have an appreciation for that. But like you said, on the flip side, if you have a wider scope and you see so many of it, it does kind of have it lose its luster a little bit. It doesn't feel as exclusive. And it can take away some of the excitement overall.
Yeah.
Well, what were you gonna say, Cory?
I was just gonna say that that was the mystery before with the Xbox One. I remember you can go back in our archives and find a really interesting episode we did was Best Buy accidentally like shipped one ahead of time, like a week or 2 weeks or like before the console came out, and no one had even seen this thing in the wild. No, that wasn't like a really high ranking, that was under a crazy NDA, and they just it arrived on some kid's porch one day. And he started going nuts and putting everything on Reddit and stuff. And we called him, and he actually did the podcast, and we got to talk to him. And it was just really exciting because it was like this mystery box. But now, like, we've seen so many reviews on the size and flipping it over, and now there's a refrigerator, and there's all sorts of crazy stuff. It just doesn't feel special, man.
I would love to know who they partnered up to create this refrigerator.
That refrigerator is dope.
I have a huge feeling that they're going to be like, and now you can purchase a refrigerator at like your local Best Buy or Home Depot or something.
That's just 2020 marketing in a shell. Everyone says it looks like a refrigerator. It's Microsoft. They actually make a refrigerator version.
But it's like their marketing team knew like ahead of time, like people are probably going to say this. And then they created this thing like months in advance because I saw somebody on the Xbox team like talking about it. Like, they were like, we created this thing months in advance in preparation for this meme. Like, they knew people were going to do that. And so I just thought it was creative on their side. But they're going to be selling those and people are going to get those.
I just wanted
I saw somebody say, like, every game studio should have one, like, in their studio.
There was some stuff that went around last week, a lot of analytics based off of like streaming, and one of the things that was interesting was they showed the PlayStation reveal stage show versus the Xbox stage show, and since we didn't have E3, everybody did their own individual ones online. The viewership disparity between the two was insane. Like the people that were watching the PlayStation was so much more than the Xbox. I just wanted to go round robin and take opinions on, do we think this is going to be like a landslide victory for PlayStation? Because I, for some reason, feel like the hype train on the PlayStation is way higher than the Xbox right now.
Yeah, I say easily, absolutely. I don't see as much excitement and hype for the Xbox. Some is there, but I just don't see it as much. And it's crazy, especially with all the specs and how ultimately at the end of the day it came out, as a stronger console, more capable. But at the end of the day, and even with all the studios that they brought, I think that they kind of sense that, so they're gonna have to catch up. But yeah, just PlayStation got it right now. That's just kind of how it is.
I feel like PlayStation has it because it has those exclusives that everybody wants to play, especially like Spider-Man. Like I love Spider-Man, so I'm like, oh, PlayStation. But I feel like maybe Xbox would have a comeback because of like all their new technology and like you said with the studios they brought on, because everybody does love those studios. Mm-hmm. And they haven't really detailed like which ones are going to be exclusive to Xbox. So I feel like if they're more clear on that maybe they'll have a chance. But for now, it looks like PlayStation might be winning.
What are you thinking, Forrest?
Yeah, I just see way more advertisement everywhere for PlayStation in general. I swear the only Xbox commercials I ever see are the Taco Bell commercial, and that's it. Mm-hmm. That's literally the only one I ever see. But I see Sony PlayStation commercials all the time and ads everywhere. So, I mean, just that alone.
All they got to do is drop that Snoop Dogg commercial. I mean, come on.
Oh, yeah. Everybody will line up around the block. I think hopefully Microsoft, I honestly think Microsoft is going to, if we're going to, keep pushing. I know a lot of people say, hey, there's no console war, man. We're all just gamers. Fuck it. There's a war going on, guys. If you're ignorant to it, that's on you. But there's definitely a war. They're businesses. They both want to beat the other. They both want to make the most money, so there's definitely a console war. But I think of the two, long term, Microsoft is still the play. And I think they're not banking on this console, being the thing that keeps them alive, not just 2 years from now, but 10 years from now. And they're focusing on that cloud gaming. There's really just not a lot of reasons right now to buy the Xbox. Especially, I just read a headline the other day saying that all of their major first-party games, pretty much going forward, are going to be available on PC day one. So they're really moving to this whole cloud gaming, phasing out the console itself and being it where you just buy the Xbox TV stick for $20 and plug it into the back of your TV. And if you have a 30 megabit connection, you're going to be playing anything that a PlayStation can, So
I saw somebody saying that about is it like some connection? Somebody like mentioned in passing, they were like, is Xbox Game Pass going to come to the PlayStation and Nintendo or something like that?
I think that's entirely possible. I think, that's the idea. I think if Microsoft had their way, they'd be down to do that type of thing. Just like, when they ended up putting the, Microsoft Office on an iPhone, it was like a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what? That was never a thing. They hate Apple. But then, everyone wants to make money and do stuff that's more enticing. Everybody wins in that case. So I think they're really going to make this push for the digital stuff. I mean, let's be honest. Game developers and probably Microsoft themselves have put out, games before they're ready when it makes sense. And the fact that they didn't make Halo a launch title to me still speaks so many volumes compared to like how their mentality is. Because if they really, really, really needed this console to be a major success, they would have put out that Halo game, subpar or not. Let's be honest. Like, it's Halo. You need that console seller game to come out with the console no matter what, even if you got to cut those corners. But they didn't. They gave the game more time. We're not going to see it till next year. That's, to me, speaks just where their head is at as a whole.
So in your mind, they've conceded the victory essentially over the PlayStation as far as the console wars.
I think so. I think they're kind of expecting that they're not going to sell as many as PlayStation, that they're playing the long game and they're going to have everybody on the Games Pass. I think that's what they want.
Well, we'll use it as a segue because they're planning on playing the real long game with the breaking news that Halo Infinite has lost yet another game director. Reading here from the article, Chris Lee, who oversaw production of Halo Infinite at 343 Industries, is no longer working on it. He confirmed to Jason Schreier of Bloomberg News on Wednesday, quote, Chris Lee remains a Microsoft employee, and while he has stepped back from Halo Infinite right now, we appreciate all he has done for the project to date, end quote. Microsoft said in an emailed statement. Halo Infinite does not currently have a release date after being delayed from its original November release. The game is scheduled to come out sometime next year. And it's interesting. We just, we talked about the big news and Microsoft buying all of these studios, these gaming studios and all that stuff. But why is it so difficult to get their house in order? And, arguably their most popular game, if not the most beloved game, some could say, continues to have issues. Like, I'm stuck between, are they taking too, I appreciate them trying to get it right, but on the same side, you can't ignore the glaring issues. Forrest, what's your take on that?
Well, seeing in the last few years how Microsoft has kind of treated Halo, like their core character and their core game, and they kind of, I don't know if I can say the word, but they've effed it up pretty bad in the last couple Halo games. They're trying to treat it more like a pay to win kind of the type of deal, and Master Chief has kind of fallen to the wayside. And they're really like spreading themselves really thin with a lot of things on Halo. Like there's all these remasters coming out. Halo 5 was not very good. And then there's this TV show that's coming out supposedly next year that they announced back when the first Xbox, where the Xbox One came out. Maybe they're just focusing on too many things at once, and that's why this stuff is just not coming together. And people are falling off because it's like, well, I'm trying to do this project, but you want me to work on this project. I don't know. I think it's just a giant mess. Too many people, too many projects at once. And they're forgetting about the main core thing of what sold the Xbox, and that's Halo and Master Chief. So...
Yeah, it's so interesting that we get this news, as Emma is, consumed with her job and not ever to comment. And I know eventually she'll guess, she'll come back onto the show sometimes. But Cory, I'm going to need you to give me your best Emma Sky's response to what the hell is happening to Halo Infinite. You have 2 minutes on your soapbox, sir.
Well, I think Halo's on life support as a franchise. They, just like Forrest was talking about, they've screwed the pooch too many times. Like the last Halo 5 was awful. As far as I'm concerned, they haven't had like a really good one since like probably Reach, and that's not even for the story, more just the gameplay stuff. So this franchise needs help.
Agreed.
They've spread themselves so thin that now people, it's like maybe Star Wars in a way. Like, I think Star Wars is kind of just like dying in a lot of people's eyes until, like, in my opinion, The Mandalorian kind of came through, and it was like the one thing. There's old school Halo fans, just like there's old school Star Wars fans, which I'll say I'm a part of. Then you got the newfangled ones where people are there's a market for the new Halo games, and those people do exist. They're maybe a little misguided, just like people who like all the new Star Wars stuff, misguided people, but they came out with The Mandalorian, and it was something that everyone was able to agree on. The old schoolers and the new schoolers, as far as I could tell, were pretty much like, this shit's dope. This is good. This is going to unify us. The franchise is in good hands. Halo needs one of those. They need a home run right now, because if this next one sucks after the kind of reboot thing that they're doing, there's a major repercussions. This could be a dead franchise. So I think I'm okay with them taking their time. I'd rather see them put out something of high quality that is cool and new and fresh and brings, all the crews together of old school and new school. I've been playing so much Destiny right now. And to be honest, I think that's where it's at right now. If you're a Halo person listening to this and, you've been like, yeah, Halo sucks, when it needs to come back. There's a great Halo game out there right now called Destiny, and if you just close your eyes and pretend you're Master Chief, and then you're playing against elites and brutes, they did a really good job of making it Halo but Destiny. So that's what I could do. I have a very vivid imagination. So yeah,
do you think
very cool.
Back like Call of Duty? Because I know for a while Call of Duty was like not the Call of Duty that we know from Black Ops, and then like they created the new one and everybody's like freaking out, like they're like, this is like Black Ops, blah blah blah. Do you think they need to do that type of situation for Halo, essentially?
I don't know, man. I don't know what they got to do. Clearly Chris Lee didn't know either, because they booted him. So hopefully they put someone in charge who knows what's up. But it's the answer I don't have.
Well, it doesn't seem like they have it either. So we'll keep our fingers crossed and hope that they can figure it out. If not, then we might be having a funeral for a friend named Halo in the not too distant future, sometime next year. All right. Well, moving on from that, more sad news about games not coming out when they thought they would. And again, all I can think of is Emma Skies right now and what she would say about the fact that Cyberpunk 2077 has another delay for an additional 3 weeks. And this is after it went into gold.
Yeah.
Like they had and to me, it harkens back to a little bit of the Christmas Day experience Cory was talking about, because, oh my gosh, that patch on day one, I mean, there's always a day one patch these days with games. I feel like even if they took a while, there's always a day one patch. But I think this day one patch went from, guppy to whale real quick. But at the same time, is it going to give us that much more of a better product? Lexie, is it worth the wait for all the people that took out vacation time and set aside days so they can, drink Mountain Dew, eat pizza, put on a diaper, and, take Adderall to play through this game?
I mean, I was pretty hyped about Cyberpunk, still am, but I feel like, to be honest, so the new date is December. What was the date? Do you know the exact date?
December 10th. December 10th now.
10th, yeah.
The new date is December 10th. I feel like strategically, I mean, they even retweeted them themselves and was like, oh, remember this tweet we sent out that said it was coming out? Yeah, we're sorry, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, I feel like somebody down the pipe hole was like, yeah, we could just make this a little bit better. And it's like what you said about the patch, like you automatically know there's gonna be a patch, but I feel like at this point it was like, no, we want this to be like everybody is expecting it to be the best game ever for like a long time or that they've seen in a while. So I feel like someone like got big headed and was like, we gotta make this like it look like it's real. Like or something. But I feel like with the due date that now is the release date for December 10th, like they're being strategic because they're like, well, kids will be out for school, well, final exams and all that, even though you're at home, but you won't have to be thinking about it. People are getting off for work for the Christmas holidays, so you'll have almost a whole month to play this game. And maybe that's what they're thinking with the release date. That still doesn't change like how upset everyone was. But granted, I feel like what I saw on Twitter, like a lot of people were upset, but then they like reeled it back in and was like, but I understand. Like we want a good game. So a lot of people were saying like, it's okay, I want the game to be good kind of thing. So and I
it's good.
Room for like more exclusives and stuff. Like maybe they'll throw in some cool, extras with it.
We could hope. It's always good to hear that anybody is even remotely sensible on the internet these days, because that has been a quite a lost art. But Cory, one of the flip sides to this is not everybody has been so understanding, and like some of the devs and whatnot have been getting death threats because the game is getting delayed. How come I'm having a hard time getting into the mind of the crazies out there doing things like this?
I don't know. I want to read some of these death threats, to be honest. Who in their right mind, in anything that has to do with a supposedly fun hobby like video gaming, be so upset that you are so entitled to this game that you would send a death threat to somebody that wasn't you just being a complete troll or idiot or just trying to get some attention? Because the thought just blows my mind that someone would be that stupid or irresponsible. Like, what year is it? Who are we? What's going on? It's a bummer. Yeah. I saw a lot of stuff on social, and when I first read it, my heart sank a little bit. I was like, damn. And it does worry me about the game overall, to be honest. Like, I don't want to go away the other way either and be like, oh, it's okay, take all the time you want. Hey, you collected my money, bitch. I want this game this year at least, or give me my money back or something, because I'm along for the ride. I put the money down. I'm excited, but I'm not at the point where you owe me this game on that date and I'm gonna take everything you have. I'm concerned about the quality of the game. As I think anybody else should be, kind of like the Halo thing. Like there's something going on, there's issues, there's bugs or whatever, because this isn't like the first time it was delayed. I don't even think it's the second time it's been delayed. This is like third, fourth, fifth delay territory. And, that said, once you get to that territory, there might be something actually wrong with this game. I'm going to stay optimistic. I've got, my copy still reserved. I'm excited to play it day one, but, get your shit together, figure it out, get this game out.
Also, the embargo for like the influencers like lifted like right before this launch, like the original launch date or whatever. And so it's like all these people have this game like, for testing purposes or whatever. And I'm just like, but we gotta wait till December.
Yeah. Pretty much. Now with them again moving the goalpost, and now the release date being on the 10th, Forrest is it like? Well, are they going to make it? Are they going to make it on the 10th? Is it going to move again?
I have never ever faulted a game studio for pushing back a game if they feel like it needs to be worked on. When Rockstar does it, I'm all for it. When anyone does it, I'm all for it. Because if I get the game, you took my money, and this is a huge thing. This is a whole nother rant I could do completely on Bethesda and their games. But if you took my money, you give me a game, and the game's broken, or if I play it for 20 hours, I reach a quest, and the game breaks, and I have to start 15 hours over again or some crap like that, effing livid. So if the game needs to be pushed back to make sure that kind of stuff doesn't happen, I'm all for it. Now, I think the problem that Cyberpunk has fallen into is they overpromised and they're under delivering right now. I think that you should be doing the complete opposite when you're pushing out a game, is you underpromise and then you overdeliver. The hype for this game is crazy, and anyone that's so out of touch with reality that you're sending death threats to people making the products that you're going to be playing. Obviously, you shouldn't be playing video games. You should be consuming media. Obviously, you have some sort of issue where you're just not in touch with what reality is, because I guarantee if you went up to someone creating something for you, say I go to the guy making my burrito at the flea market and I start threatening him because he's not making it fast enough for me, I'm pretty sure either I'm going to get the cops called on me or I'm going to get my ass kicked or something like that. You know, people just, it never shocks me, but it also shocks me at the same time that people are still so irresponsible with social media and they think that they can just do and say whatever they want. And there's never going to be a repercussion for what you do. I mean, imagine if a game studio was like, you know what? F all you people. You guys want to threaten our lives and threaten our studio and our employees? Fuck it. We're not going to put the game out now. How about that? Like, imagine.
Yeah.
I don't know. I could see something like that happening with like an indie studio.
I'm glad that was your take on this thing too, because like the name of your YouTube channel is pretty much a death threat. So the fact that it's satire, it's like you play retro games or you die is how I took that.
Well, the whole meaning behind that is it's like my quest to find my retro games or I will die, you know, kind of thing. Because I go to flea markets all the time. That's like, it's my journey to reclaim my lost childhood when I had my effing crappy mom throw all my video games and toys away when I was a kid because like, well, you don't need these anymore.
One last thing on the Cyberpunk is I was nowhere near death threat capacity, but I was a little disappointed. But then I read someone put out one of the Miyamoto quotes where he said, a delayed game is eventually good, but a rushed game is forever bad. And that completely, like, just the respect that I have in the industry from a Miyamoto completely like put me in my line, in line with where I needed to be. Like that, it's like when your father gives you that little bit of wisdom, and everybody's video game daddy laid it down when he put that out there. So, I mean, he's 100% right. We should just take the delay, and this game's gonna be great. And I'm sure it's just like a polish of making it even greater.
Facts indeed. All right. Well, moving on to the last topic of the day. I always hate to end on a sour note, but hopefully we can turn a sour note into a sweet note. Sean Connery has left the building. Yeah. He has gone on to the great James Bond film in the sky, to forever be 007 in our hearts and whatnot. But with that, and with what we all found out, which he lived a long, happy life, passed away at 90. I thought, and Forrest, thank you for giving this one to us. I thought it was a good idea that maybe we can all go around and just quickly name two of our favorite Sean Connery films. And I think, why don't we go ahead and start with Forrest, since he provided this one for this show.
Well, I would say we lost the true Highlander. That is by far one of my favorite roles that Sean Connery was ever in, was Highlander. Not Highlander 2, but Highlander. And I can say there can only be one. I love that movie. I love everything that he was in that movie. And I think just for nostalgic reasons as a kid, because Sean Connery, for me, as a kid, he was always old. He was always an old man when I was a kid, you know what I mean? So when I was seeing his movies, it was still like in the 90s when he was making movies like The Rock. And I think that's my second favorite movie I ever saw him in. So welcome to The Rock.
Indeed. Such a classic one. Lexie, you got a few to throw out?
I don't remember all the titles. Was he in Die Another Day? Like the first one back in the day?
That one I am not entirely. I do not remember off the top of my head. I might have to fact check ourselves on that one.
When I was like all diapers, like when I watched him in movies. But I did love the movies I did see him in. I remember like all his stunt scenes and like him driving by the ocean, and like it was really cool. And he was very charming and charismatic. So he will truly be missed. I don't remember like the movies that I saw of him because of him. Like I read the books and like watched all the other movies, and he just was a legend as James Bond. Like you knew like he was James Bond, you know. And I actually, fun fact, like in high school and stuff, I used to have like my screen name was like, I don't know, whatever my name was that I made up, and then I would always put 007 at the end because I loved it that much. So he will be greatly missed, and long live 007.
Indeed. Thank you for sharing that. And Cory, what you got?
This is where I lose all my credibility and say I can't really remember watching a full Sean Connery movie from front to back. I actually even went to IMDb as frantically as Lexie was speaking to see if anything would jar my memory, and not one thing. I've never seen a 007 movie, old or new, from front to back. I've never seen Highlander, never seen The Rock, none of these movies.
Oh.
Yeah, I know.
What about Indiana Jones?
No, I've never seen a single Indiana Jones movie.
What?
I will say, I'm sorry, guys. I'll take the L today, but I will say, I've gotten a lifetime of enjoyment of SNL impressions, and you know his Jeopardy counterpart. I can't. Why am I spacing on who played him? Daryl Hammond. Daryl Hammond's Sean Connery, your mother Trebek, will always live in my heart. So, if nothing else, he impacted my life through Saturday Night Live impressions and parody.
Yeah. I mean, that just speaks to like how specific, like of a character he was, like an actor in the movies, and also just outside of the movies, and kind of the persona that he had, and that accent, of course. For me, well, Forrest took one of mine, and I think we had talked about that at one point. But the Rock absolutely was a great film, and I think people forget how awesome Ed Harris was in that movie too. Like a very convincing
amazing
character. Yeah, like he was so good, easy to sympathize with, but the chemistry of Sean Connery and wow, am I really spacing? Seriously,
Nicolas Cage.
Thank you. I almost said Nick Nolte because I was so close to like a Nicolas Cage. Their chemistry together in that movie was second to none. It was really interesting. Probably, but I would say that's my second favorite Michael Bay movie behind the very first Bad Boys movie. That was awesome. And so, but I'll take one on a whole nother side. Finding Forrester was a movie that I'd seen.
I love that movie. That is a great one too.
Oh, it's so good. The chemistry that they had in there and everything. I don't know. Like I was so used to like seeing the side of him, like either being in the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen or James Bond or all of that stuff. So I didn't see a lot of his drama films when I was younger. I think that was one of the first ones that I had seen, and it left a really big impression on me. I mean, it's a Gus Van Sant movie, so it's going to either hit you in the gooch or the heart or both at the same time. That's Gus Van Sant for you. But I would say those two easily left a really, really big impression on me. Yeah, definitely. Thanks for all the good stories and good characters. Sean Connery, you'll forever be missed.
For sure.
But yeah, y'all, that is another episode of Video Game Bang in the books. Thanks everybody who's watching live and in chat. Always like keeping the show interesting, keeping us going. Ruru too. Of course, CDFJ, our homie Jay, Capital Fight District, Lost Sheep. Sir Butcher came through and pulled up. Sergeant Squiggles. Everybody always keeping it interesting. If you want to see the show live, you will have to go to twitch.tv/videogame_, and don't forget the underscore, bang, videogame_bang. You can check us out live. You can always listen to us post if you just search Video Game Bang in the Google Play Store, iTunes, pretty much anywhere where you can get podcasts from. We're on. What do the kids use? The kids really these days, they really like
Tic Tacs.
Oh, Tic Tacs. Yeah. Catch us on Tic Tacs, tossing them in the air, juggling them, catching them in our mouth, and doing dance moves. None of us do that. But as far as Lexie, I know you had been doing some streams. Are we still going to get some streams out of Lexie in this holiday season? What's up?
Hopefully, yes. It's been kind of busy with work, but yeah, I did a impromptu stream. I think it was last weekend or something. So there might be a couple of those coming up, and then maybe a planned one. But just be on the lookout. My Twitch is xSpaceMintyX, and then my Twitter is LexieJPR. So just keep an eye out.
Yes, keep an eye out, because she hits y'all guerrilla style. It's like stream out of nowhere.
Bam.
Just like a RKO, you know what I mean? So you got to stay ready. My man Forrest, for all the people that should already know about you, but for the people that don't, let us know where we can keep up with all of your content that you create, man.
Okay. First, I want to say thank you guys for having me on. It was a lot of fun, and great podcast, by the way. And you can find me at Twitter at RetroOrDie and Twitch at RetroOrDie. I stream a lot of old Resident Evil 2 games and stuff like that, and speed run them, and weird demo discs for the early PlayStation. Just kind of make fun of them and drink and hang out. And
yeah, you got my interest right there. I need to watch those. What did they call them? Was there a name for those?
They're like the jam packs, like Summer Jam Pack 2001.
Yeah, those were badass, dude. I watched that.
Yeah.
And then also on YouTube, Retro or Die. If you like retro video games and 70s, 80s, 90s horror movie reviews, there it is.
And check them out. I swear, you go into stuff in depth the way that I like it. And also, not shots fired. I gotta say, our good friend and buddy and former host, Aaron Carter, Sir Aaron Carter, another sir, another person who's been knighted. I tried to tell him for I think multiple years. I was like, you want to do like a spooky thing, a scary movie thing? You should totally watch Brain Scan live with some of the people on the show. Now, of course, he's going on to create Bilo and all that stuff. I think I still told him again over there, and every time he just ignores me. I don't think he's watching. But a person who listens to it, because no one ever listens to Skip. No one ever listens to Curtis. No one just does. But for someone like Forrest to actually listen, and then you went and you one up me, you found the VHS for Brain Scan. One of, for anybody who's into horror and gaming, it's a must-watch video. Look, he's got it right there. It's a must-watch movie. People don't realize.
I never saw it.
Yeah.
I never saw it. And then when you told me about it, I immediately went out and got it. And holy F, you guys need to see this. Edward Furlong, video game killing machine. It's insane.
Wow.
Oh, it's so good. People, please watch this. So Forrest is a man after my own heart. I appreciate him actually listening to my recommendations, and I will listen to any of his going forward. That's easy. My man Cory, I know you said you're not going to be streaming and all that stuff.
Nope, done. I retired last week. Done streaming.
Wow.
I don't know.
Retired last. Is that what happens when you get 2 world championship rings?
Yeah.
You just you kiss the ring and you walk away from the game on a high note?
Yeah, exactly. Go out on top is what I always say. So yeah, I don't want to do no streams or anything, but you could follow my day-to-days on the Twitter at What's Up Pizzas, Instagram at What's Up Pizzas. I pretty much got that everywhere. So if you just type in What's Up Pizzas if you want to keep up with us. But yeah, I'm focusing my any of my time that I'm not spending working goes into Video Game Bang. So if I'm streaming, I'm not working on the show or able to put together show notes. So this is the baby here. So appreciate it. Appreciate the desire. Lost Sheep, my one and only person who bugs me to stream. But yeah, not gonna happen. Not fun for me.
We should do a challenge, actually. If streams watching and listening to this, we should do a challenge where, like, if Cory does this or if something happens, blah blah blah, Cory will stream.
No, not even. I'm not gonna whore myself out to the streaming communities. I'm not gonna put on makeup and be your guys' little puppet. Video games to me has taken an intimate. I don't have much free time anymore with the baby, so when I do game, it's like intimate time, and I'll send a message out to people I want to play with. Like I've played more games with David Webb the last month than we had the last like 2 years. And it's just because there's people I want to connect with, play games. I don't have to worry about leaking stuff. I don't want to worry about any of that kind of stuff. We can just throw down and have like real personal friendship building time. So I can't do that when I'm streaming because I'm too busy looking at the 3 people in chat, you know. So it's a personal thing. It's now my private time. It's what I do, and then I talk about it on the show. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. But I appreciate it. If you guys want to check out what I do for work at SF Shock, we're in the off season now, which is like some of the most exciting time. I just finished a documentary series with my friend Julian. Basically, we were a 2-man crew telling the story of our championship run. We've done like 6 episodes. So if you want to watch, I mean, we put a lot of time and effort and production into this. Each episode's probably about 15 minutes. Some go up to 30. And it's just storytelling. If you want to know like what it takes to be a top tier #1 esports team, we go unfiltered. It's really one of the most satisfying projects I've ever worked on in my entire life. And like I said, another shout out to Julian Edits, who's up for an esport award, which is that's not like a little piddly award. That goes to the real max of editing, and he's in there, and I get to call this guy my coworker. So I'm really can't brag on that guy enough. And if you want to vote for esport awards, just .com, and there's a voting thing. You can vote for my team, San Francisco Shock, for Team of the Year, my org for Content Team of the Year. We were like nominated for a lot of shit, but most importantly, if you got the time, please vote for my friend Julian as Esports Editor of the Year. That would mean a lot to me personally.
Julian's a good dude too, so I second that notion. That's easy.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you've been taking some notes from your boss Shaq about coming back out of retirement and how those things go. So keep listening to Boss Man about that. This is your boy Skip, aka Skipitosh. You can check me out on my Twitch, which I haven't been on, I think, in like a month. But I was supposed to stream Resident Evil all month. Yeah, that didn't happen. But I bought a bunch of those Resident Evil games, and I'm gonna have to get out of raid mode for Resident Evil 2 and actually get back on stream with y'all. So I will soon. And enough of my friends have bugged me enough to play NBA 2K with them again online. So I'm going to take the dive and give that a shot, and we'll see how it goes. Hopefully I don't get so mad that I break stuff. Anyway, thanks everyone again for joining us on another episode of Video Game Bang, and we will see y'all next week.